The mind is a battlefield, and the person you can't stop thinking about is often the one you're still fighting in silence. Ever wondered why someone keeps showing up in your thoughts, no matter how hard you try to move on? You wake up, they're there. You try to work, and somehow their name sneaks into your mind like a whisper you can't shut off. You tell yourself you're done, but your brain didn't seem to get the memo. It's like your thoughts are on repeat, looping through memories, what-ifs and words left unsaid. And deep down, you start to ask the dangerous question, are they thinking about me too? Before we go any further, do me a favor. Press that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay with me till the end, my friends. Because what I'm about to share with you will flip the way you see connection, memory, and that one person who just won't leave your head. Hey folks, imagine this. Your mind is like a room filled with echoes. You try to sit in silence, but one voice keeps bouncing off the walls. You close the door, but somehow it seeps through the cracks. You can't escape it because the truth is you invited it in long ago. And now that echo isn't them anymore. It's your own attachment calling back at you. We've been told a lie, haven't we? That if you can't stop thinking about someone, it must mean they're your soulmate, that the universe is trying to tell you something. But let's be real, sometimes it's not fate. It's just your brain refusing to let go of the emotional high they once gave you. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But most people hand that power away like it's nothing. You see, the mind is addicted to unfinished stories. When something ends without closure, your brain treats it like an unsolved puzzle. It keeps going back, replaying the same scene, hoping this time it ends differently. But it never does. And while you're there, lost in that loop, life moves forward without you. Think about it. They're probably out there scrolling, laughing, living, maybe not even thinking about you, and yet you're carrying them like emotional luggage you forgot to unpack. That's not love, my friends. That's self-inflicted torment disguised as connection. The Stoics would tell you, it's not the person who holds you prisoner, it's your own mind. Sometimes it's not even the person we miss. It's how we felt when they were around, wanted, seen, alive. But here's the truth. If your peace depends on someone else's presence, it was never peace. It was dependence. Love shouldn't drain you. It should ground you. Real love gives you space to breathe, not chains to wear. But don't beat yourself up for it. We've all been there, replaying texts, rereading messages, stalking profiles we swore we'd never look at again. The mind craves familiarity, even when it hurts. But here's the fun part. The moment you stop feeding those thoughts, the moment you laugh at how your brain keeps trying to drag you back, it loses control. You take your power back not by fighting the thought, but by smiling at it. Like, oh, there they are again. Cute. Because when you stop giving power to the thought, you start giving it back to yourself. And trust me, when you do that, when you detach with peace instead of anger, that's when the real magic happens. That's when your silence becomes louder than any text and your growth becomes the message they'll never stop thinking about. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll see why your mind does this, what it really means, and how to finally break free from that loop. You'll stop chasing thoughts and start mastering them. Write this in the comments to remind yourself, I own my peace. And if that hits home, press like, subscribe, and let's dive deeper, my friends. Number 1, the psychology behind constant thoughts. What consumes your mind controls your life. Unknown. Let's be honest, my friends. When someone's face keeps showing up in your head like a ghost that refuses to leave, it's not just random. It's not the universe playing Cupid. It's your mind, that powerful, mysterious, and sometimes cruel machine, trying to make sense of what it can't accept. You might wake up thinking about them, find their name in the lyrics of a random song, or see someone wearing their favorite color, and suddenly, boom! There they are again, front and center in your thoughts. You don't invite them. They just show up like an unannounced guest who knows exactly where the spare key is hidden. Here's the truth. When someone constantly appears in your mind, it's not always because of them. It's because of the energy you left behind in that connection, the emotional fingerprints they left on your nervous system. Your mind isn't addicted to the person. It's addicted to the feeling they created. That rush of excitement, the comfort, the pain, it all becomes data stored deep in your brain, and every thought you have of them is like your mind replaying the tape, hoping this time the story ends differently. Imagine your brain as a library filled with stories you've lived. Some are closed and forgotten, but others, the ones that ended without clarity, are left open on the table. Every time you walk by, your mind notices that unfinished book and whispers, maybe read one more page. That's what happens when something ends without closure. Psychology even has a name for it, the Zeigarnik effect. It means our brains fixate on unfinished emotional business. That's why you can move on from someone who gave you peace faster than someone who gave you chaos, because peace ends clean, but chaos leaves questions. And yet they start to wonder, why can't I just let it go? Why does my mind replay every word, every smile, every mistake? The answer is both simple and painful, because the mind doesn't like unresolved emotions. It clings to them, turns them into puzzles, and keeps you awake at 2 a.m., trying to solve something that no longer exists. That's not love, my friends. That's your mind seeking control where there is none. As Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your thoughts about them are not the problem. Your attachment to what those thoughts represent is. You're not haunted by their memory. You're haunted by the version of yourself that existed when they were around. The mind is trying to bring back that feeling, that sense of being wanted, seen, or alive. But here's the lie you must break. Thinking about them doesn't mean you still love them, and it certainly doesn't mean they're thinking about you. Sometimes your thoughts are just emotional echoes. They bounce around in your head because your mind hasn't learned to sit in silence yet. It's afraid that letting go means forgetting, afraid that silence means loss. But what if it doesn't? What if silence is simply your soul cleaning the clutter of what no longer belongs? I know it's hard. Letting go of someone who's in your head every day feels like trying to erase ink with your bare hands. You might say, but I don't want to hate them, and you don't have to. Stoicism isn't about pretending feelings don't exist. It's about mastering how you respond to them. It's about realizing that someone living rent-free in your mind is costing you peace, focus, and energy that could be building your future. Think about it. How much time have they taken from you without even being there? How many moments have you lost replaying what's already gone? Every thought you give them is a piece of your present you'll never get back. That's what makes it difficult, the addiction to what if. Your mind believes that if you keep thinking, you'll find answers. But some chapters aren't meant to be finished, they're meant to be closed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So ask yourself, are your thoughts building peace or feeding pain? Every time you replay the past, you're watering a dead plant, expecting it to bloom. It's time to stop, not by force, not by denial, but by awareness. When the thought appears, don't fight it. Just recognize it. Ah, there they are again. And then breathe. Let it float by like a cloud drifting across your sky. Because here's the truth, you can't control what appears in your mind, but you can control what stays. You can choose not to chase every ghost that knocks. You can choose not to build a home in memories that no longer serve you. That's what the Stoics mastered, the art of emotional distance without bitterness. They didn't escape feelings, they transcended them. And maybe that's your next step, not to erase them, not to hate them, but to rise above the noise they left behind, to look at your reflection and realize you were never obsessed with them, you were searching for yourself in them. You were trying to heal through someone who was never meant to be your cure. So today, reclaim that space in your mind. Take your thoughts back. Turn that mental loop into a lesson. Because when you finally stop asking why they're always on your mind and start asking what they came to teach you, that's when you break free. That's when the mind that once trapped you becomes your teacher. Write this in the comments to remind yourself and show the world around, I take my mind back. Because this is where your power begins. And stay with me, because in what's coming next, we'll go even deeper into why your heart mistakes obsession for love and how to finally break the cycle that's been draining your soul. Number 2, emotional bonds or mental loops. Love is supposed to free you, not imprison you. Let's talk about something that most people get painfully wrong, my friends, the difference between love and obsession. Because when someone's always on your mind, it's easy to tell yourself, it must be love. It must mean something real. But let's be brutally honest, sometimes it's not love at all. Sometimes it's just a mental loop you haven't learned how to break. Love is calm, stable, and liberating. It gives you space to breathe, space to grow, space to still be you. But obsession is loud. It demands attention. It steals your sleep, hijacks your focus, and tricks you into believing that constant thoughts are proof of deep feelings. They're not. They're proof that your mind has built a habit. And habits, especially emotional ones, are hard to break. Imagine this, you're standing in front of a fire. Love is the warmth that keeps you alive. Obsession is when you keep getting closer until you burn yourself. The tricky part, they feel the same at first. Both make your heart race, both make your chest tighten, both make the world feel like it's spinning around one person. But one will heal you, and the other will consume you. Here's where psychology meets truth. When you form a connection, your brain releases dopamine, that same chemical that fuels addiction. You start to crave their attention like a fix. Every text, every smile, every little sign of validation gives you a rush. And when it disappears, your mind goes into withdrawal. That's why you keep checking your phone, replaying memories, searching for their name in every crowd. It's not romance, it's chemistry. The Stoics understood this long before science did. They said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality, because obsession doesn't happen in the real world, it happens in your head. It's your imagination feeding you what you want to feel, not what's true. You start building a story about who they are, what they mean, and how it could have been. A story so powerful it blinds you to what's actually happening. And then you start to fear the silence. You start to panic when there's no message, no call, no sign. Your brain interprets that absence as danger, like losing oxygen. You start to overanalyze every little thing. Did I say something wrong? Did they lose interest? Are they talking to someone else? And suddenly, your peace becomes a prisoner of your curiosity. But here's the painful truth. Real love doesn't demand that you suffer for it. Real love doesn't require you to lose yourself just to keep someone's attention. That's not love. That's emotional dependency. And dependency, disguised as love, is one of the hardest illusions to break. Because when your self-worth starts depending on someone else's presence, you've handed them control of your peace. It's not your fault, though. This is how the human mind works. We crave connection. We mistake intensity for intimacy. We think if it feels strong, it must be right. But not everything that shakes your soul is meant to stay in your life. Some people come not to complete you, but to expose the places within you that still need healing. The Stoic way isn't about avoiding love, it's about understanding it. It's about seeing love not as possession, but as appreciation. You can care deeply and still let go. You can miss someone and still know they're not meant for you. That's real strength, when you can love without losing yourself. So ask yourself, are you thinking about them because you truly love them? Or because your mind is addicted to the feeling they gave you? Are you drawn to their soul or just to the story your mind created around them? Because the moment you separate feeling from fantasy, you start to heal. You start to see that peace isn't found in their return. It's found in your release. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." Notice he said love, not obsess. To love is a privilege, not a punishment. So don't turn your heart into a prison cell and call it passion. Love them if you must, but love yourself more. You don't have to hate them. You just have to stop needing them to feel whole. Because wholeness was never something they could give you. It's something you were born with. And maybe they were just the mirror that helped you remember it. So the next time your mind starts looping, pause and remind yourself, this isn't love, it's memory. And memories can be honored without being relived. Write this in the comments, my friends. I choose peace over obsession. Show yourself, show the world around you, because in the next part, we're going even deeper into the illusion of mutual thoughts and the truth about whether they might actually be thinking of you too. Number 3, the illusion of mutual thoughts. Sometimes the echo of your own longing sounds like someone calling your name. Let's be real, my friends. We've all felt it. That sudden jolt when you think about them out of nowhere, and moments later, your phone lights up. You tell yourself, see, they must be thinking about me too. It feels like proof that something deeper is happening, like your thoughts reach them through some invisible thread. It's a comforting idea, isn't it? The thought that even in silence, there's still a connection. But let's break that illusion before it breaks you. Because here's the truth. Not every pull you feel is a sign. Sometimes it's not energy, it's conditioning. Sometimes your brain is so used to their presence that it sends signals even when they're gone. It's like muscle memory, but emotional. You think it's fate, but it's just habit wearing the mask of destiny. Imagine this, your mind is like a radio station, constantly playing signals of emotion, memory, and energy. When you think about them, it's like tuning to a frequency you used to share. But just because you're listening doesn't mean they're broadcasting. You might be hearing the replay of your own thoughts, bouncing back like an echo in an empty canyon. It feels like connection, but it's really just your mind trying to fill the silence. Psychology calls it pattern recognition. Your brain is wired to seek meaning, to find connections where there may be none. So when coincidences happen, you think of them, then see their post or hear their name. Your mind goes, see? It's a sign. But what it's really doing is filtering reality to match your focus. You're not seeing signs, you're seeing your own attention reflected back at you. And yet, it's not foolish to hope. You're human. You want to believe that the bond you felt was real, that they feel it too, even if from afar. That's not weakness, that's emotion, but emotion without awareness becomes a trap. It tricks you into reading meaning into moments that were just coincidences, into mistaking your longing for proof that they're still connected to you. The Stoics warned against this kind of emotional projection. Epictetus said, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings." What he meant was simple. When something or someone takes up space in your thoughts, it's usually pointing you back to something within you that's unresolved. Maybe it's not that they're thinking of you. Maybe it's your heart reminding you of the lesson you still haven't learned. And yet, there's another layer here. Energy does exist. Emotion is energy in motion, and sometimes when two people share something deep, that energy can linger, but it's not magic, it's resonance. Just like a tuning fork can make another one vibrate across the room, emotions can leave imprints that take time to fade. But the danger is mistaking resonance for reciprocation. Just because you still feel their vibration doesn't mean they're sending it intentionally. You see, most people think the silence between them and another person is empty. It's not. It's full of assumptions, hopes, and unspoken words. The mind hates uncertainty, so it fills that space with fantasy. Maybe they're thinking of me too. It's your heart's way of finding comfort in what it can't control. But comfort built on illusion is the kind that shatters the loudest when truth finally arrives. If they truly are thinking of you, you'll know, not through telepathy, not through signs, but through effort, presence, and action, because energy without intention is just noise. It's action that confirms emotion. Until then, focus on the only mind you can truly master, your own. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are constantly painted with their image, your entire world begins to look like them. But when you start shifting your focus toward peace, toward purpose, your world starts to change color. That's when the illusion breaks. You realize the connection wasn't psychic, it was psychological, and you were the one keeping it alive all along. So instead of asking, "Are they thinking about me?" ask yourself, "Why do I keep needing them to?" Because that question is where freedom begins. That's where you stop chasing invisible signs and start choosing visible peace. And when you finally stop searching for evidence that they still care, something magical happens. You create space for someone who actually will, someone whose presence won't have to be guessed. It'll be felt, spoken, seen. So next time that thought crosses your mind, that flicker of energy, that whisper of their name, smile at it. Don't chase it. Let it pass. Because if it's truly meant, it will return in reality, not just memory. Write this in the comments to remind yourself and to show the world around, I release the illusion. I choose the truth. Stay with me, my friends, because what's coming next will show you how the brain traps you in memories and how to finally stop replaying a story that ended long ago. Number 4, how the brain traps you in memory. We are more faithful to our memories than to people. My friends, have you ever noticed how the mind has this cruel sense of loyalty? Long after someone's gone, long after they've moved on, your brain keeps replaying their voice, their laughter, their habits, like a movie you never asked to watch again. You tell yourself you've healed, that you're done, but then a scent, a song, or a place brings them back like they never left. It's not that you're weak. It's that your brain refuses to forget the emotional language you once spoke with them. The human mind is wired to hold on to emotional moments, not because it loves pain, but because it's built for survival. When you experience something deeply, joy, heartbreak, fear, or love, your brain tags it as important. It stamps it, files it, and keeps it within reach. So even when the story ends, the emotional data doesn't. The brain still believes it has a job to do to protect you from ever feeling that lost again. But in trying to protect you, it ends up imprisoning you. Imagine your mind as a movie projector. It can only play what's already been recorded, and every time you think about them, you're pressing play again, lighting up the same neurons, feeling the same chemicals, reliving the same scene. The more you play it, the deeper the groove gets, like carving a line into stone. That's why it feels involuntary. You don't choose to think about them. Your brain does it automatically because it's been trained to. But here's the dark twist. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening and what's remembered. When you think of them, it releases the same emotional cocktail as if they were standing right in front of you. That's why the longing feels so real. It's not them you're missing anymore. It's the chemical comfort your brain once associated with them. Dopamine, oxytocin, nostalgia, they all mix together and trick you into thinking it's love. But it's not love, it's neurological déjà vu. You might be wondering, then how do I stop this? How do I stop the replay? The Stoics would tell you, you don't stop it by force, you stop it by understanding. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. The person, the memory, the pain, those are the outside events. But the thoughts you entertain, that's your territory. The key isn't to erase them, but to break the association your mind has made between them and meaning. Let me give you a metaphor. Think of your mind as a house and memories as visitors. Some are pleasant guests who bring warmth. Others overstay their welcome, rearrange your furniture, and eat all your peace. You can't stop them from knocking on the door, but you can stop inviting them to stay. You can say, "Thank you for coming," and close the door with grace. But the problem is, most people don't close the door. They stand at the threshold, hoping the visitor will change. That's what makes letting go so hard. The mind doesn't just remember, it hopes. It hopes for a different ending, even when the story is finished. And that hope turns memory into suffering. The Stoics believed in practicing amor fati, love of fate. It means accepting everything that has happened as necessary, not because it was perfect, but because it was yours. What if, instead of fighting the memories, you loved them for what they were? Lessons, teachers, mirrors of who you once were. When you shift your perspective like that, the past loses its grip. The movie stops feeling tragic and starts feeling complete. But yes, it will be difficult, because the hardest part of healing is not forgetting them. It's forgetting who you were when they made you feel alive. It's accepting that the version of you that needed them has evolved. That the fire they once lit in you, you can now ignite yourself. That's growth. That's maturity. That's power. You might still remember them sometimes. That's okay. Let the memory visit, but don't offer it a room. Don't feed it attention or pain. Just watch it fade, like smoke rising into the night sky. Beautiful for a moment, but gone soon after. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." So train your mind to think thoughts that serve you, not ones that chain you. Replace the habit of remembering them with the practice of remembering who you are. Because the day you stop replaying what hurt you is the day you start recording something new. So write this in the comments to anchor your power. I remember, but I release. Show yourself, show the world around you, because in the next part, we'll go even deeper into how obsession becomes addiction and why your mind keeps craving the very thing that once broke it. Number 5. When the mind becomes an addiction. An addiction doesn't always come in a bottle or a pill. Sometimes it comes wearing a smile you can't forget. My friends, this one might hit hard, because the truth is, sometimes it isn't the person we're addicted to, it's the feeling they gave us. The way they made our heart race, the way their attention felt like sunlight after a storm. It's intoxicating. And when that's gone, your brain doesn't just miss them, it goes into withdrawal. Just like any addiction, it starts small. You tell yourself, I'll just check their profile once, or I'll just think about them for a minute. But that minute becomes an hour, and before you know it, you're back in the loop, craving a feeling you once called love, but that your mind now mistakes for survival. It's a cruel trick the brain plays. When you experience intense emotions, whether pleasure or pain, your mind releases dopamine, the reward chemical. It reinforces the memory. It tells your brain, this person equals intensity, excitement, energy. And because the human brain doesn't care whether something is good or bad, only whether it's stimulating, it keeps chasing that rush. You're not just remembering them anymore, you're reliving the high. Imagine your brain as a slot machine. Every time you think of them, it's like pulling the lever, hoping for a jackpot of validation or closure. Sometimes you get a small reward, a like on social media, a memory that feels warm, a dream that feels real. But most of the time, nothing happens. And yet you keep pulling because the possibility of that emotional win keeps you hooked. That's not love, that's neurochemical gambling. And the more you feed it, the stronger it grows. You start justifying your cravings. You call it destiny or deep connection or unexplainable chemistry. But in reality, it's your nervous system repeating what it's been taught. That their presence equals pleasure and their absence equals pain. It's not that you're weak, it's that your mind hasn't yet learned to separate the emotional hit from the person who triggered it. The Stoics understood this long before neuroscience did. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more from imagination than from reality." Because your mind becomes addicted not to the person, but to the fantasy. You remember the best moments and exaggerate them. You romanticize the pain. You turn heartbreak into a story that feels meaningful, because the mind would rather feel something than feel nothing. But here's the lie you've been told, that missing someone means they're special. No, my friends, it just means they once gave you a feeling your mind hasn't learned to recreate on its own. You became addicted to their energy because you stopped realizing that same energy already exists within you. You don't crave them. You crave the version of yourself that felt alive around them. And breaking that addiction isn't easy, because just like detoxing from a substance, your mind will resist. It will whisper things like, "Just check one last time," or "Maybe they'll come back if I wait." But waiting keeps you in chains. The Stoic path is not about waiting for peace to return. It's about choosing it even when your thoughts rebel. It's about understanding that withdrawal from emotional addiction feels like loss, but it's really liberation. Think of it like this. Your mind has been running on borrowed energy. You've been fueling it with memories, fantasies, and what-ifs. But every time you resist the urge to check, text, or replay, you're rewiring yourself. You're teaching your brain a new pattern, one where peace feels better than chaos. That's how power begins, in the moments no one sees, when you quietly choose not to feed your craving. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Apply that to your thoughts. If it doesn't bring peace, don't entertain it. If it doesn't align with reality, don't repeat it. You can't heal by overdosing on memories. You heal by starving the illusion that they're the only source of your happiness. And here's the beauty in all this. Once you break free, you'll realize something profound. The same brain that once obsessed over them is the same brain that can become obsessed with your own growth. The same energy that once chased their validation can build your dreams, strengthen your confidence, and bring peace that no one can take from you. The power was never in them. It was always in you. So next time your thoughts try to pull you back, remind yourself, you are not withdrawing from them, you're returning to yourself. Write this in the comments to anchor your strength. I'm addicted to peace now. Show yourself, show the world around you, and stay with me, my friends, because in the next part, we'll go even deeper into the stoic shift that changes everything, how to detach without denial, and how to let go without losing love. Number 6, the stoic shift, detachment without denial. To care deeply but not cling, that is the highest form of strength. My friends, let's get something straight. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It doesn't mean you become cold, emotionless, or pretend that nothing ever mattered. That's denial. And denial isn't power, it's fear dressed up as control. Real detachment, the stoic kind, is something different. It's looking at what once burned you and saying, I can touch the flame now without letting it consume me. It's feeling the storm without becoming it. People hear the word detachment and think it means cutting off all emotions. But the truth is, detachment is not about escaping emotion. It's about mastering response. It's about allowing yourself to feel, to care, to love, but without becoming enslaved by what happens next. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That's the foundation of Stoicism, realizing that peace begins where your control ends. Imagine you're standing in front of the ocean. The waves are your emotions. They rise, they crash, they pull. Detachment doesn't mean you stop the tide. It means you learn to surf it without drowning. Because when you deny your feelings, they don't disappear. They wait. They wait for the quiet moments, the lonely nights, the unguarded seconds. But when you observe them without judgment, something incredible happens. The waves lose their power to pull you under. See, denial is rooted in fear. If I admit I still care, I'll fall apart. But detachment is rooted in truth. I can care and still be whole. That's the Stoic shift. It's the art of being in the world, but not owned by it. Of loving deeply, but not needing desperately. Of walking away, not in anger, but in peace. It's hard though, isn't it? Because we're taught from a young age that love equals attachment, that if you let go, it means you never cared. But that's the lie we must break. Detachment isn't the death of love, it's its purification. It strips away the need, the control, the obsession, until all that's left is respect for them and for yourself. Think of it like holding water in your hands. If you grip too tightly, it slips through your fingers. But if you open your palms, it rests there, calmly, effortlessly. That's what healthy attachment looks like. You stop gripping what's meant to flow. The Stoics practiced this daily. They reminded themselves that everything external, people, possessions, circumstances, are temporary. Epictetus said, "When you kiss your child goodnight, remind yourself you may not have them tomorrow." That wasn't cruelty. That was clarity. It was a way to love more honestly, because when you realize that nothing is truly yours, you stop trying to control everything, and you start appreciating everything. That's what detachment gives you, perspective. You stop chasing and start observing. You stop begging and start understanding. You stop reacting and start responding. And suddenly, what once felt like loss starts to look like freedom. But let's be honest, it's not easy. Detachment takes courage. Because it means facing the truth without flinching. It means sitting in silence and realizing that some things won't go the way you wanted, and being okay with that. It means letting people leave without forcing them to stay, and loving them enough to wish them peace, even if it's not with you. That's not weakness, my friends. That's mastery. And here's the paradox. The moment you detach, you become magnetic. Because peace is attractive, clarity is irresistible. When you no longer need anyone to fill your emptiness, you start radiating the kind of strength people can't forget. You become the calm in their chaos, the stillness in their storm. And ironically, that's when many try to return, when your silence starts to speak louder than all the words you ever said. But this time, you're different. You no longer chase. You no longer explain. You no longer perform for attention. You simply exist, centered, grounded, and at peace. Because true power isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. So, when your mind tempts you to reach out, to check, to chase, pause, breathe. Remember, you're not losing them, you're rediscovering yourself, and that's the most sacred reunion there is. Write this in the comments as a reminder of your new strength. I feel deeply, but I flow freely. Show yourself, show the world around you, and stay with me, because next we'll dive into a truth many fear to face. What if they really are thinking about you too? And what if that energy still lingers? The answer might surprise you. Number 7. What if they're thinking about you too? Sometimes two souls don't need words. Their silence already remembers everything. My friends, let's talk about the question that keeps so many of us awake at night. What if they're thinking about me too? You feel their energy out of nowhere, like a sudden spark that hits your chest. You're walking down the street, and a song plays that feels like them. You smile, and for a split second, you feel it, that connection that refuses to die. And then the mind starts whispering, maybe they feel it too. Maybe they miss me. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? But also a dangerous one. See, the heart loves to make meaning out of mystery. It craves connection even in silence. But here's the truth the Stoics would tell you. Just because something feels connected doesn't mean it is reciprocal. Sometimes what you feel isn't a sign from them. It's a reflection of your own emotional echo. The mind, when it loves deeply, keeps sending out waves. And sometimes those waves bounce right back to you, and it feels like someone else is sending them. Imagine your emotions as ripples in a pond. You drop a stone, a memory, a thought, a wish, and those ripples move outward, touching everything. But when there's no one else to absorb them, they circle back, creating the illusion that something's coming toward you. That's how energy works too. Sometimes the only energy you're feeling is your own heart returning home. And yet I won't lie to you, there are times when mutual thought does exist. Energy is real, emotion carries frequency. When two souls shared something genuine, that bond can leave a trace. But here's what the wise ones understood. Even if they are thinking of you, that doesn't mean they're ready for you. It doesn't mean they've grown, or that the timing is right, or that the story must continue. Sometimes you both feel the pull. But fate still says, not now. The problem is, people romanticize that connection so much that they stay stuck in it. They confuse energetic familiarity with divine timing. They wait for signs. They interpret coincidences. They chase meaning instead of healing. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." That means if they were meant to stay, they would have stayed. If they're gone, it's because their part in your story has already been written. And yet, here's the miracle. If they do think of you, let them. Let your peace be what they feel. Let your silence remind them of your strength. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to send a message or post something to get their attention. Real energy doesn't beg, it radiates. The strongest signal you can ever send to someone is peace, because peace says, "I have healed," and nothing is more magnetic than someone who's no longer chasing. But let's get real. The mind will still try to test you. You'll have those moments when you swear they're thinking about you, when a dream feels too real to ignore, when you wake up with their name in your head. Don't overthink it. Let it be what it is, a passing wave, a flicker of memory, a chapter that once mattered. You don't have to analyze every heartbeat. The universe isn't always sending messages. Sometimes it's just closing loops. So instead of wondering whether they're thinking of you, ask yourself a different question. What does my energy say about me right now? Because that's the only thing you can truly control. If your energy says peace, healing, and growth, then no matter who thinks of you, you'll be ready. If your energy still says pain, fear, and longing, then even if they return, it'll all play out the same. The goal isn't to be thought of. The goal is to be remembered by the calm you left behind. You see, you're not the one who's lost when you let go. You're the one who's found. And if they ever do think of you, let them feel that strength. Let them feel the version of you that no longer needs closure, because you became your own closure. Let them feel your silence, not as distance, but as peace, because peace is what they'll never forget. So maybe, just maybe, they do think about you, but this time let that thought belong to them. Don't chase it. Don't wait for it. Live your life so powerfully, so peacefully, that even if they feel your energy again, it humbles them. Write this in the comments to remind yourself. If they think of me, let them feel my peace. And if this spoke to your soul, press that like button, share this video with someone who needs clarity, and subscribe for what's coming next, because we're not just talking about heartbreak here, my friends. We're mastering the mind, we're rebuilding power, and we're learning how to love without losing ourselves again.